It's your boys. I'm Big Diesel.
And I'm Coach.
Really? A little extra. Anywho, you had to be extra for this one. Had to be extra.
It's a special occasion.
And could not, you know, he finally let me do the black mic. I had to.
Because it doesn't matter
Man,
if you're black or white. Yes,
you know,
yes, we know,
you know.
we know. It doesn't matter.
I had to force him a little bit. It's funny, quite funny.
Mm-hmm.
It kills him. Anywho, if you haven't seen by his shirt, doing the Michael movie. So yeah, back at it with another one. Back at it like we never left. So yeah, man, critics did not like this movie.
We starting off swinging right there.
Swinging right there.
Man, okay, yeah.
I feel like this was rather enjoyable if you just went into it just trying to enjoy yourself, and that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just tried to, you know, enjoy myself. I'm a big Michael fan. I remember when he passed, um, and how impactful that was. He was definitely impactful when I was growing up.
Yes.
My mom liked '80s music, so you know, of course, he was one of the people I listened to, and I wanted to be like, um, so it was crazy. Michael was very influential, you know, with everybody pretty much. Like he is the king of pop, and every goat is a Michael for some reason. Like Tyson.
Jackson, Tyson, Jordan, Game 6.
He
Some of
had
y'all
to
get
do
that on the way home.
He had to do
Anywho,
But yeah. So, anyways, so basically, this goes from when he was when he was a kid as a Jackson 5
yep,
to the Victory Tour.
do the victory tour.
So that was what it covered.
Mm-hmm.
First off, Jafar Jackson killed it.
Murdered.
Killed it. Um, he was basically Michael when he's, of course, everything that you hear music wise is mostly Michael. I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of it was Jafar singing to himself, even though he does sing.
He does. I've heard one of his songs.
I heard.
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Pretty good. I like the fact that he's trying to be not, you know, be his own person.
Yeah, not these impersonators that
right.
really
And
change
have
their
his
entire
own
face.
style. Right. No, I'm talking about like his music compared to Michael's music.
Yeah.
I like that. Basically anybody I name, Nia Long, killed it. Coleman Domingo, killed it. Just everybody. His bodyguard, killed it. Yeah, it was, man.
The one music exec who I didn't know was Mike Myers. So we're kind of jumping it. Yeah. Well, no. Not Miles Teller.
Oh,
he was a lawyer.
Yeah,
but no.
He did great.
Yeah, and
there is a cameo. Not gonna get into it. There is a good cameo. That was it. Yeah.
Bubbles?
No. It does get into Bubbles. I don't want to get
into. What cameo are you talking about? What cameo are you talking about?
It has to do with Joe Jackson and somebody else.
Oh.
There you go. That's all I was saying. Good.
Actually, I'm still not sure. But anywho,
we'll talk about it after.
Yeah.
Because I
So
don't want to get into spoilers. I want people to just
spoiling a
see
story that
see it themselves.
took place 30, 40 years
I
ago is
get
crazy.
you.
I know. I know.
But I want people to experience it for themselves
No,
rather than taking our word for it.
Yes.
Or critics' word for it, or anybody. I say it a million times. Go see it yourself and have your own experiences. Because, we have different experiences with these movies than you do. So, for what we may not like, you may like. What you may like, we may not like. So, yeah, just experience it. I think you need to see this in a theater because man, everybody. I have seen social media where people are like out in the front, like dancing, but I think that's a little extra. Just, but in my theater, people were jamming, and moving to the beat when certain songs came on. So it was great.
Yes. I do think dancing in the theater. I feel like as long as they're doing it like during the credits, that's fine. I think
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. When it's during the actual movie, it can be very distracting.
A little bit. Yeah.
That's why. If you're gonna dance, rent out a theater or something. Have your friends rent out a theater, do something like that. I don't know. Anywho, but yeah, I definitely enjoyed this as a huge Michael fan. Clearly, I liked that it did focus on a specific element of his life, like the story. Yes, well, I'm trying to get into the positives first, but yes, the story, it focuses primarily on Michael's relationship with Joseph and how tense that was, starting from when he was really young, and all the stuff Joseph used to do.
Man, when he whooped him.
Whooped that? Yeah, he whooped him.
Saying Trick Williams.
See what you did. Yeah. Yeah. From that point to when he was older, he was talking about his nose and then
big nose. Every time he said big nose,
and I'm like, Joe, have you seen you?
Pretty much, yeah.
But anywho, it's like it's really sad because I mean, you can get into like the accident that he had and he allegedly broke it and that's why he had to get surgery. But then something bad happened, and then it's like throughout time you can see how certain things were botched, and then it was just Anywho, getting to the stay focused on still focusing on the actual story itself. Yes, it does focus primarily on Michael and Joseph, and there's a good bit of Catherine there too. But I would say like the biggest dynamic of the movie is between Michael and Joseph. We have the brothers as well, and I think the actors that portrayed them did well. They didn't have as much to do, I would say. Like, I think you looked at most of them through the lens of Michael, if that makes sense. Like, we can get into like how other biopics may have did certain things differently, focusing on the Jackson as a whole, but this was very much Michael's movie, which we kind of expected. I would say though, it's very hard to tell like one definitive Michael Jackson story.
He's done so much.
Yeah, exactly. He's done so much. This isn't a criticism. It's just saying like, for those who, may be upset that certain things weren't covered. It's like you can really only tell so much. There are things that were supposed to get covered that didn't, and there's a lot of legal whether it's legal things or just certain people didn't give a blessing to for them to be portrayed in the movie.
Some things got cut out.
That's true.
You can definitely tell some things were like supposed. Yeah. There's definitely a missing piece when it's certain scenes.
Correct.
Like there's a missing scene.
Yes.
You can tell.
Yeah. I what I like what I've been saying is that I try to judge the movie for what they gave rather than what isn't there. Like I like judging the movie that we have rather
Yeah,
than the movie that was in my head that I was expecting. I know it's impossible to do that because we all have certain expectations, and then trailers may allude to certain things that things don't always are promised. But I think it's best to say like, okay, this is what I saw, this is what I appreciated, what I didn't like, versus like saying what I didn't like because it wasn't actually mentioned, even though again you can only cover so much. I was thinking the movie was going to be longer initially, but when I saw the 2 hour runtime, I was like, okay, now I was able to understand like, okay, this is only going to cover so much. And then when people said, oh, it only stops at 1988, then I'm like, okay, well, I know pretty much nothing after that is going to get covered. So I think my expectations were, it wasn't that they were low, but I knew kind of going into it that critics had said mostly negative things. So then when I saw it, I was like, wait, this is what y'all were upset about?
yeah.
And
Just the fact that a lot of, and I'm not saying all critics, but most critics that I've heard were just mad that it didn't get into the the uh,
the scandals stuff.
the scandals, and it's like, really, really. Most people go to a movie to just, you know, to just have a good time and just appreciate Michael. So I'm kind of glad they didn't get into the scandals. Now,
Same.
clearly, there's, from what everybody's been saying, there's going to be a second part, and I'm sure it's going to get into that. But as far as this one goes on its own, I think it did what it needed to do. Yeah, was there missing pieces? It felt like, yeah, but I feel like no matter what, Michael was gonna have controversy no matter what. This movie was gonna have, people were gonna love it or hate it no matter what. There was no one thing you could do to please everybody.
That's true.
Um, so it is what it is. Um, at the end of the day, I think they did the best they could do. Is it perfect? No. You can nitpick this and that, but I think for what it was, I enjoyed myself, and I hope everybody else does too. Um, yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes, uh, it's just best to enjoy yourself when it comes to trying to see a movie rather than put your critic hat on.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, to echo that, yeah, nobody is going to be. There's not one version of this movie that's going to appeal to everybody. Like, it's not going to make every single person happy because Michael is a very vast, iconic person in terms of like he's done so much in his life, and yes, there are um, the way he left this world was very tragic, very sudden. He was getting ready for the "This Is It" tour, but also coming after the scandals and all that the allegations. It's like there are certain people who still had like very raw feelings, even though he was found innocent. And although the movie doesn't get into this, it does allude to like who he was as far as like him being somebody who definitely connected with children. Like you saw him like visiting people in hospitals, and you see him like in stores, and people were coming up, kids were coming up to him, and then
He didn't really have much of a childhood.
yeah,
Not very. It's crazy how he came out with a Christmas album,
right.
but they were Jehovah's
Jehovah's Witness,
Witnesses.
yeah, and the movie
Um,
does allude to them and that being their faith.
it didn't have a lot to. He didn't have a lot of friends because a lot of them, because he was in the Jackson Five. He didn't feel like he trusted them.
Yeah, and he said he couldn't relate to
Yeah.
these other kids, or like the kid, and what you said, like he didn't feel like the kids really wanted to be friends with him. For him, it was
Right.
just you know that connection or proximity to fame and who Michael was kind of as a symbol.
Yeah.
Um, and it did kind of stunt his growth in a way. Like a lot of people say, like he was very childlike as an
Yeah.
adult, and
Yeah.
like he would
I
like
mean,
do
there
all these
was a.
pranks and different things, and he wanted to
Yeah.
play Twister in that one
I was
scene.
about to say yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, why would y'all want to play Twister with him? And it's like a lot of his brothers were, most of his brothers were older.
Yeah.
Some of them were even married at that point.
Yeah.
He has older sisters as well, um, which is funny because the movie there's certain siblings that just aren't
I
there.
figured you were going to say.
I'm not gonna say who,
Yeah.
so y'all will see it and find out. But um, that was an interesting choice. I do know there are people who are like huge Michael fans who will probably have heavy criticisms of the things that either were inaccurate or that they did skip over, like we were saying before. And I do think that certain things, um, I don't know, that I wish had been covered that were actually in the movie, but then it kind of like, oh, it did skip over certain things like um, when you're introduced to Barry Gordy, um, we kind of you get that kind of beginning of that relationship, but then we don't see what happens. Why Michael goes from working with Barry Gordy, then going to like when he leaves Motown and then gets with Quincy Jones in that era. We don't even see how that whole thing transitioned, how that took place. It was just it's kind of like a time jump, and now he's with Quincy Jones, and I thought the actor who played Quincy Jones, Kendrick Sampson, I thought he did well. Lawrence Tate, I thought he did well as Barry Gordy.
Laura Harry.
Um, who was she?
I don't.
Oh, I can remember. She was she worked with Barry Gordy, right?
Yeah.
Who I forgot her name in the movie, but she did well. It was like all these people did well.
Yeah.
But it would have been interesting if it delved more into the relationship that Michael had um, with Barry Gordy and with Quincy Jones. But again, there's so much they could have.
It was an interesting dynamic where it was more like he was trying to protect him from his father, teach him certain things. Um, there was more of a father relationship with Barry Gordy than there was with him and his father. And you could tell like it bothered him a little bit, but at the same time, like there was definitely some tension, but it's like he treated Michael more better and more like a actual partner and wanted to teach him some things rather than Joseph who wanted to control him.
Yeah,